Skool, hey! Inside Skool, every day putting deep in the air.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Inside Skool. We're digging into something interesting that came up recently. Status symbols on the Skool platform.
Yeah, it's a great topic. People shared a lot about it, and it felt like the right time to really explore what these symbols are all about.
Exactly. We want to look beyond just, here's a badge, and try to understand their place in these online communities. What do they actually signify?
Right. And just to recap for everyone, we're talking about those little emojis you see next to names in school. There's the star. I think that's for the top 1% in Discovery.
Yeah, that's right. And the fire emoji, the one for being active 30 days straight.
And then you've got the ones tied to monthly recurring revenue, the MRR. The GOAT is the top earner. Then Ninja, Diamond, Crown, and Rocket for hitting different tiers like $10K, $30K, $100K MRR, and so on. It's quite a visual hierarchy.
It really is. And the core question that kind of popped out from all the discussion was, well, what's it all about? Having these symbols, seeing them, what's the real story there?
Inside, we're so glad you're here. Come on inside to Inside Skool.
Well, a perfect starting point was that story someone shared, a community owner, right? They lost their fire emoji just because they missed one day. And that small thing, losing the fire, it really sparked a lot of thought. What did you find most interesting about that initial reaction?
Well, what jumped out at me was the journey.
Yeah.
First that initial feeling of disappointment, but then almost immediately this questioning, does it actually matter?
Right.
Especially because this person apparently gained more members after the fire disappeared.
Yeah.
That really makes you pause, doesn't it?
It totally challenges that automatic link we might make. Fire equals success.
Exactly. And someone at Marianne Suarez Sabugo made a great point that some of the most successful communities on Skool, the owners don't always have that fire emoji.
Yeah, that really underscores the point. It suggests maybe there's a bit of a disconnect between that specific visible metric and, well, the actual quality or impact someone's having.
Quality over quantity, essentially.
Precisely. And then we saw this whole range of reactions to losing the fire. Mark Zupiska's comment was quite funny, wasn't it? Like, the world didn't end.
Yeah, a good dose of perspective.
Yeah.
And then you had Chuck Ellis, whose first instinct was, okay, got to get it back. That showed that immediate attachment some people feel.
Definitely. And Diana Frank chimed in with supportive fire emojis, that classic online encouragement. But then Shivraj Dangi offered a different view, saying that for them, using Skool daily is just normal. It's part of their business. So the fire is just a side effect, not really the objective.
Which is such an interesting contrast, right? For some, it's a goal. For others, it just happens.
And Sarhan Patel was quite firm, never going to lose it. That really highlights how much it can mean to someone's sense of achievement.
Yeah, real determination there. But then Eva Raposa brought in this really valuable counter perspective, talking about prioritizing deep work or taking a digital detox.
Right. A well-lived life, I think, was the phrase.
Yes. And losing the fire during those times. Just not significant. Plus, her point about top groups and even school games winners often not having it, that really questions how crucial it is.
It does. And Mike Hicks kind of echoed that, didn't he? Calling it nice to have, but not a deciding factor for new members joining his group.
Which seems plausible. New people might not even know what it means initially.
Then Chuck Ellis came back, calling it a badge of honor, but also admitting, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of vanity involved. That honesty is interesting.
It really is. That duality captures it well. Even the little jokes, like Heather Coffin talking about green color after the streak ends, it shows how these visual cues become part of the landscape.
They do. They take on a life of their own. Ethan Britz mentioned feeling bothered by losing it, but also not actively trying to keep it, sort of a passive awareness.
Yeah, like a background hum. And Jesse Keith encouraged getting it back,
Yeah.
that social reinforcement aspect.
But then Chuck Ellis had another thought later, realizing that actually maybe focusing on invitations and bringing people in is more important than just maintaining that daily activity streak.
Yeah.
That felt like a shift.
It really did. A shift towards maybe deeper engagement. And Chrissy Cutts brought it right back to genuine community connection, the quality of interaction, not just presence.
We also heard about Camille Procorat losing it by just a few hours, multiple times. That must be frustrating.
Oh, definitely. And Andrew Kirby's take. Cool, but not essential. Seems like a common feeling.
Even Calvin Hollywood, who apparently has a really long streak, basically said it's not important. It's almost like Maybe the people who have it consistently sometimes value it less.
It's a fascinating thought. Maybe the chase is more compelling than holding on to it.
Could be. Russ Walker joked about physical pain. Losing it shows the emotional connections some have.
Yeah. And Helene Hall lost it while traveling, found it mentally easier to just let go and re-earn it later. That suggests maybe its attainability makes it feel less scarce, less critical.
And Michael Grendeling summed it up nicely again. Nice to have, but doesn't really represent quality. Which brings us back to that central question. What do these symbols represent?
Exactly. Just looking at the fire emoji reactions opens up these fundamental questions about value in online communities. And this is where ChatGPT's broader reflections on the whole school status system become really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. ChatGPT sort of stepped back and asked, okay, what's the actual impact of these emojis on how people behave? Are they genuinely boosting useful engagement?
Or are they maybe creating stress,
Mhm.
comparison, that sort of thing?
Right. Is the fire streak motivating genuine interest in the community, or is it just about keeping that little flame icon lit? That's a key distinction.
It really is. Activity for activity fake versus activity driven by genuine contribution. ChatGPT also poked at what the fire really says about an owner's value or success.
Does just showing up every day automatically mean your community is top-notch? Probably not, right?
Right. Likely not. And they made the point that some of the most impactful members might not be the ones posting every single day. They might contribute in deeper, less frequent ways.
These are the questions that push us to look beyond just the surface metrics, aren't they?
Absolutely. And ChatGPT also raised the point about new members. How do they experience this system when they first join?
Yeah, is it motivating? Like, oh, look what I can achieve. Or is it maybe a bit overwhelming, seeing this hierarchy you don't understand yet? Do they even know what goat or ninja means in this context?
That's a really crucial point about accessibility, isn't it? You land in this new space, see all these symbols. Is it welcoming, or does it feel a bit like an exclusive club already?
And then there's the whole connection to money, those MRR emojis, making revenue so visible. ChatGPT questioned if that might perhaps skew the community's focus a bit too much.
Right. Does perceived status become too tightly linked to just financial success? Does that overshadow other really important things like, support, learning, collaboration?
That's the concern. And then ChatGPT really pushed the boat out, asking, what else could we recognize? What other kinds of contributions matter? Like who's good at fostering a positive vibe or connecting people?
And they didn't just ask. They proposed some actual alternatives, which is where we start looking beyond the horizon, thinking about the future.
Exactly. Those alternative ideas are fascinating, like the impact score, instead of just activity, measuring contribution by actual outcomes.
Yeah, like did someone's comment actually help someone else? Did people take action based on advice given? The question they posed, who actually moved the needle for you this month? That completely reframes value.
It really does. And the connector badge, recognizing the people who are always bringing others together, sparking conversations, making introductions, that's such a vital role, but often invisible.
Giving it a name like connector or bridge builder makes it visible, acknowledges that skill.
Then there was recognizing the behind-the-scenes support, the growth buddy or mentor recognition, maybe peer-nominated awards like a Mentor of the Month.
Or badges like Growth Buddy or Wise Owl. I like that. It spotlights those crucial, quieter contributions.
And how about acknowledging the people who create energy, the event creator or challenge starter emojis, badges like Challenge Master or Weekly Starter that celebrates the people driving active participation?
Definitely. But the one I found particularly interesting was the peer-voted value emoji. The idea of awarding a hidden gem status by the community members themselves.
Ah, yes, recognizing those quiet heroes, badges like Hidden Gem, Quiet Hero, or maybe Essential Piece.
That feels really powerful because it shifts the recognition internally. It values genuine contribution as seen by peers, not just easily tracked metrics like logins or even revenue. It balances things out.
It absolutely does. It offers a much more holistic picture of what makes a community valuable, doesn't it? Moving beyond just visibility or dollars to acknowledge all the different ways people make a community thrive.
So as we kind of wrap up this look inside school and its status symbols, the big theme that keeps coming up is this tension between the stuff that's easy to count, activity, revenue, and the contributions that are maybe harder to measure, but just as vital for a truly great community.
Right. It really challenges us to think about what we're trying to optimize for in these online spaces. What does value truly mean?
It pushes us to look past those immediate shiny badges and consider what really sustains and enriches the experience for everyone involved. It's about maybe getting to a deeper understanding of contribution.
Moving beyond just showing up or hitting a number towards something more meaningful.
So the final thought to leave everyone with as we look beyond the current landscape, considering all these different ways to recognize value, what could a future of online communities look like? A future where status genuinely reflects contribution, connection, impact, not just activity logs or income reports.
It's a really interesting question to ponder, isn't it? How might we design for that kind of recognition as these platforms continue to evolve? Food for thought.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for tuning in to Inside Skool.